being a site director and all that stuff.
It's 7:44, KNEB, 21 degrees. Time for News Extra. Here's Kevin Lewis.
Thank you, Dennis, and good morning, everyone. Our guest today, our Region 22 Emergency Management Director, Jerry Bretthauer, and Wayne Furguson is here as well, and we'll tell you why Wayne is here in just a minute, explain what his role is in all of this. But Jerry is here to talk about volunteer reception centers that have been put in place for disaster situations. Jerry, kind of describe a little bit what volunteer reception centers are.
What a volunteer reception center is a group of individuals who can put together a volunteer reception center, and what we're going to try to do is get a core group of 12 to 20 people, and the reason we need so many is because not everybody will be available when we need them every time, so we're going to be 3 deep in most positions. And their whole purpose is when we have spontaneous volunteers, that's people that want to come out and help during a disaster, and we know that people in western Nebraska are those kinds of people and they'll want to help, but we can't just let people go out and do their own thing because we have no idea of what they're doing or they're not doing. So you end up with duplication of effort, you end up with people getting lost in the shuffle. If they go into an area, excuse me, if they go into an area and somebody says they saw them and then they disappear, then we have to put a whole bunch of resources into finding them, and we need to not have to have additional problems besides a disaster. And what they're going to do is have some people come in and set up the volunteer reception center. When the spontaneous volunteers come in, we'll find out what kind of jobs the incident commander needs. They'll be assigned certain jobs. We'll give them a little interview to find out if they're there to help and why they're there to help, and then we're going to teach them a skill according to whatever the incident commander needs. We'll give them a safety briefing, we'll send them to a staging area, and then they will be able to help the incident commander do whatever job we need.
All right. So you have volunteer reception centers established already in Scottsbluff and Banner County?
We've signed 4 contracts with people, and they are strategically located throughout Scottsbluff and Banner County. We have one at the Banner County School. They signed a contract with us. The Mitchell Event Center, the Gearing Civic Center, and the West Nebraska Community College HATC, Arms Advanced Technology Center. The south end of that building could be used for volunteer reception center.
All right. And like you said, you need 12 to 20 people, if possible, to volunteer to help you run these volunteer reception centers in the case of a disaster such as, for example, the benzene spill, right?
Correct. What I want to be able to do is, as emergency manager, I want to be able to call up a site director like Wayne Furguson and say, Wayne, I need you to set up the volunteer reception center at the Harms Advanced Technology Center. And then he would get a hold of all the people that we needed, specific jobs that might be involved here at the volunteer reception center, or besides the site director, or runner coordinators, phone bag coordinators and operators, a communications officer, an information technology coordinator, greeters, disaster volunteer registration coordinators, disaster volunteer interviewers, people that put out the badges. Without a badge, you're not going to be able to get into a site, and the police will stop you if you don't have a badge indicating you are a volunteer. Safety briefers, and then specific job trainers. The reason we need that badge is because we will have you check in and check out using the badge, and during a disaster, if it becomes a presidential disaster, we can probably end up paying some of these people even though they're volunteers. So we got to keep track of the number of hours they worked, and we know exactly who was there or not there and why. And the other reason that we have a badge is so that we can make sure we don't have people that are there that are just looky-loos, which cause congestion, or they're there for some other nefarious reasons like looters or they got some other motivation besides helping in their mind.
Okay. All right, we'll talk to Wayne about his job as site director and his background and all that stuff right after this.
Are almost here, but if you still aren't up to speed, a trip to Kohl's is all you need. For ornaments to add some zest, or the perfect gift, a faux fur vest, a Seiko watch that will make him smile, a sweater dress that's just her style. To see big smiles on all their faces, just let Kohl's help cover your bases.
This Friday and Saturday, everything is on sale at Kohl's. All departments, no exclusions. With the perfect gifts at the perfect prices, you'll love to give and be happy to save. Kohl's, expect great things.
Back on News Extra this morning, we're talking about the establishment of volunteer reception centers in case of emergencies. We have Region 22 Emergency Management Director Jerry Bretthauer here. He's talked about the fact there's 4 locations already been established as volunteer reception centers and the need for people to help out at those reception centers. And one of the things they need are site directors, and Wayne Furguson is a site director, already volunteered. Wayne, kind of give us your background. You've been at, I knew I recognized you when I saw you walk in the building this morning. Kind of explain your background.
Well, I retired several years ago. I spent the last 20-some years of my life as a school superintendent, retiring in '04 from Laurel.
Okay.
And so this is kind of up my alley, organizing people. And as site director, my job is basically Jerry will give me a call. It's up to me to get to notify the people, get them there, to get the equipment we have. All the equipment has been donated. It's in boxes, ready to be used. So get it set up. Hopefully, from the call, we need an emergency center. We'd be up and running in less than 2 hours.
That'd be pretty good. And so that would include computers and anything else that you need,
Your
right?
computer, printers, cell phones, walkie-talkie, forms, our forms, anything that we need, we've got it all prepared now in boxes sitting. It's in Jerry's office, and we just pick them up and we can set up. And all we need from the site then is some phone lines and some tables, and we're ready to go.
All right. Now you guys need some of these other positions, right? Is part of what you're here for.
Right.
You need people to kind of start volunteering for some of those things.
Right. What we need, we went 2 to 3 deep in each of the positions. Number one, somebody may not be in town. Number 2, we don't know how many hours a day this is going to be running. So we basically want these people to be 6 to 12 to 20 volunteers to come in, and they'll get it started. Then we will take some of the spontaneous volunteers and train them within each job to continue working on there. But basically, this group we're looking for is to initially get it set up and to begin the initial training.
Okay. Isn't there a database of volunteers somewhere with the United Way or
Yes.
something like that that has been established?
Yeah, they have a database of 140 some or so odd people on there, so we'll be using that database also.
Okay. And those
And,
those people you've got to kind of train, right?
Yes, we got to kind of train. So basically, we want a dozen or so here that we'll have trained to get set up, and then we'll train on the fly.
Okay.
And it won't take much time for us to get these people trained. We're only asking for 1 to 2 hours to get the individuals trained. So other volunteer things that you might do are going to take a lot more time than this will.
Okay. In order for, we got about another minute here, tell us how people can get involved here and what your email is and that. So hopefully maybe out of this particular show you guys can get some volunteers.
Well, they can go to the United Way website, and you can just type it into a search engine, and then United Way of Western Nebraska. Also, you can go to scottsbluffcounty.org, gearing.org, and scottsbluff.org, and find the Volunteer Reception Center or volunteer registration forms, and those all end up going to the United Way here in Scottsbluff.
Or they can also maybe contact you at
Yes.
the emergency medical at your office, right?
At my office, you can call me at 436-6689.
And Jerry's email, by the way, is jbrett, Jbrett, at scottsbluff.org. You can also, that's another way you can get a hold of him, express your interest.
Yes.
All right. All right, guys, we appreciate you coming in, and hopefully through this show, and I know Manette wrote an article in the newspaper about this, hopefully through those two ways, you guys will get some people to help run these reception centers.
We appreciate all of KNEB's efforts to help us.
All right,
Yeah,
you
thank
bet.
you.
All right, back to you, Dan.